Hey everyone, and welcome to governance call number 28 for the NFTX DAO, our bi-monthly governance call. This is recorded and it will be put up on YouTube tomorrow, most likely. The bi-monthly governance call is here to cover off a lot of what the core team has been working on, what is being planned, plus a chance for the core team to answer any questions and have discussions with any of the community that wants to pose any questions as well. As we go through the process, or as we go through the agenda today, please feel free to ask any questions as we go along, or you can wait until the open discussion at the end, rather than trying to find a silent spot while someone's talking and jump in. We've got a chat attached to this, so if you drop your questions in the chat or click on the raise hand button, then we'll switch it across to you to ask away. So today we're going to have a quick look through the week in review, and then I'll pass it across to Quag, who will talk a little bit about the 0x integration and the ETH stake Zaps. And then Goz will chat a little bit about a recent proposal that went through for the Aragon vote time, and then we'll move it to an open discussion about anything that anyone else wants to bring up and discuss as well. So if there's no questions beforehand, we'll jump into the roundup or the week in review. So this was something which we used to do on a weekly basis when NFTX first started. And it was a good way of showing kind of the progress and the behind the scenes of what was happening within the core team, where the protocol was going. And we also had these regular governance calls as well. I think we had weekly calls to begin with as well. It kind of fell off the radar a little bit because we were all busy building, but we think it's really important that we highlight the things that happen. A lot of the time, the core team will spend most of the day online together on Discord on a call, and then in the evening, as the sun rotates around and the US team come on board. But the rest of the I suppose the rest of the community don't get to see those conversations and stuff. So this week in review is a good opportunity to sort of pull those bits out. So in the last couple of weeks, there's been a couple of updates. The first was from Twade, where he worked on a Merkle eligibility module. NFTX has default eligibilities, which allows you to do things like put in token ranges, so ID ranges to say only allow IDs from 0 to 1,000 from this collection in, or only allow these specific IDs. We could also do trait-based, so if there was on-chain traits, so for example, I think Anonymice have on-chain traits, so you could say only allow like really specific like golden mice to come in. You could do a module for that as well. But what we wanted to do, and someone wanted to put together a 10K ENS club. So all the ENS numbers, like all the 4-digit ENS numbers. So Twade came up with a really ingenious way of being able to create a module which allows us to look at things like the names of NFTs and then create an eligibility list based on that as well. So that was released. The 4N 10K vault has been released as well, and it's doing well. FloorDAO initially seeded it as it won their last floor vote as well. So yeah, if anyone's looking to do any kind of new eligibility modules around different collections or different vaults that they want to do, be sure to reach out and see what is now possible. I know that the Begans are really keen to release a Hype AF vault coming up soon, which is going to be using on-chain metadata as well. So that was really cool. The NFTX graph indexer. So we run a indexer which powers all the data, or a lot of the data and historic data on the site. We don't always make direct calls like on-chain calls. We'll use the graph for that as well. So we've recently upgraded to the latest version of the graph and have upgraded our subgraphs as well. So we're going to be able to pull out more data like where the source of a particular sale happened. So at the moment, we display like things that are sales or buys or redeems or mints, but we'll be able to pull out to say, okay, this sale came directly from Genie, or this one came directly from Gem. So we'll be able to see where the activity is happening and showcase that in the front end as well. We also worked on the 0x integration, but I'll skip over that because Craig will talk a bit about that. We put in a PR for DeFi Llama. So now the NFTX pools appear on DeFi Llama along with the inventory and liquidity yield earnings that are coming up there. So this is just another way. Integrations like this is, a really good way to showcase the earning potential that people have on NFTX and to sort of have NFTX's reach increased across the different areas where DeFi users are. Along with that as well, we upgraded our token list to incorporate pretty much all of the vaults now, and that now appears on Sushi and through onto Uniswap as well. So now if you type in Pudgy or Lil or any of the vault token names, you should see the tokens come up along with their cute little pictures and icons that go along there as well. If you have a vault and you see you can't find it, it's not included in there, you might have been missed off on the token list. So send a note through on our Discord, or if you don't like the icon that's associated with your vault, we can always get that upgraded for you as well. We then looked at like a bit of the protocol activity. The current protocol has a little under 39 million in total value locked and distributed about $360,000 worth of fees to our inventory and liquidity providers. And we're around the 2,200 active monthly users. So that was going up over July and it's kind of plateaued at the moment. It's been going up and down, which is kind of expected around the bear market as well. I think that's about it. The other things we looked at is around some vaults as well, which was around the Penguins, who were doing quite well, but that is just mainly a plug for Pudgies. That was the week review. That will come out every fortnight. If you want to keep up with that, you can always subscribe at blog.nftx.io or follow us along on Twitter as well, and we'll post updates as that goes along. And if there's anything that you decide that you want to see released as part of that isn't in it at the moment, so insights into what might be happening and regularly reported on, please hit us up and let us know. And Craig, do you want to talk a little bit about the 0x?
Sure, yeah. I've changed my mic, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, so the 0x integration, what it actually means. So at the moment, anytime you buy or sell into NFTs or into or from NFTX on the marketplace, it uses the Sushi pools as a single source of liquidity. That's because that's where all the stakers earn their rewards from, based on their proportional balance of that pool. But basically, it only ever pulled the Sushi pool liquidity. So one of the changes that the 0x integration allows us to do is basically query 0x for pricing to find the best price. So obviously, at the moment, that will just return Sushi for everywhere because all the liquidity is in Sushi. But it means that people can start providing liquidity for NFTX Vault tokens anywhere they want to. Basically, 0x has pretty much the widest range I can imagine of available sources. So like Uni V2, Uni V3, Balancer, anywhere like that. But specifically, we had Uni V3 in mind with doing this, as it allows people or sort of to put on better or larger strategies in how they may want to provide yield, provide liquidity on these NFTs and earn yield, especially sort of larger players like FloorDAO, who may want to LP a sizable chunk on the NFTX Sushi pools for NFTX rewards, but then also provide a concentrated liquidity range on Uni V3 behind it, which in turn would keep the spot price closer on the NFTX app, and therefore more traffic, more volume would flow through as the spot price on NFTX remains closer to spot on other marketplaces. So that's the big reason for doing it. We had a little test run the other day on mainnet, just to see how the Zap contract would run for sort of 12 hours or so, if things weren't failing out, etc., that sort of stuff. And we sort of set up a small concentrated position on Lil Pudgies just to check how it would work. And I was able to sell in as a test one Lil Pudgy, which sourced liquidity from both SushiSwap and the small Uniswap V3 position that we put up on Lil Pudgy's little concentrated position behind it. So that was cool to see it working. We've done sort of a first round of feedback on that Zap contract and made some tweaks, and we're going to, I think, deploy again tomorrow and hopefully have some announcements and stuff around it. But yeah, like the TLDR basically is the NFTX UI will now source liquidity from all liquidity providers who want to provide liquidity for the vaults. So if you want to have some liquidity in NFTX and then also put like a concentrated Uni V3 position behind it to earn 1% trading fees on Uniswap V3, that's now possible. So this has opened up cool opportunities for stuff like Floor DAO with their bigger positions, and also for NFTX, the DAO itself, because we could have a proposal to move the Punk position that we currently LP on Sushi that we aren't staking for rewards. It would make a lot of sense to move that into a Uni V3 concentrate position, even if it's quite a wide concentrate position, because even just having a smaller range, even say like 100 ETH range or something, will help keep the spot price closer on the NFTX marketplace for all the other stakers, and also allow NFTX to earn the 1% fee on trades within that range. So I'll roll straight into ETH stake zaps if Twait's not around. So we're finding at the moment one of the biggest sort of like blockers to staking is the fact that you need some of the underlying assets. So you might be browsing the NFTX marketplace or the Yield app, and you'll see these APRs which are pretty juicy, and then you'll be like, cool, I want to stake there, and you'll go to the app and you'll click stake, and it'll open up your wallet spin and be like, you don't have any of the NFT, you don't have any of the Vault token, or you're not an existing liquidity provider. Therefore, you need to go and either buy the NFT, go buy some Vault token, or go and manually become a liquidity provider and then come back and stake that token. That's sort of blocker that we wanted to remove. So we started work and made good progress on what we're calling like an ETH only zap, or like a naked ETH zap or something. So people can come onto the site, browse the APRs and the pools, and if they want to stake, they can just define an ETH amount of what they want to do. Which at that point would buy the Vault token from the best available price using the 0x API, and then either stake it just for them single side, or if they want to do the LPing, it will then buy the ETH and LP it or whatnot. Though obviously we're doing a fair amount of calculations on the front end to handle, what the price impact's going to be. So, you can't just ape in 100 ETH. Obviously, we make you aware that price impact will happen and what your sort of before and after position will be and what you're providing liquidity at. But we're hoping just having a single option of being able to pick a predefined amount of ETH and just get staking straight away will help people provide liquidity without even maybe realizing that they're providing liquidity, which is great because they're just in it for the yield. And we'd sort of like to get as much liquidity, in these vaults as we can, so we can get more activity for buyers and sellers, better buy price, better sell price. So yeah, I guess we're hoping to having that in testing in the next couple of weeks, which would be cool.
Wicked, thanks, Craig. Waivers go, if 100% of liquidity for a vault is on Uni, does the fee revenue go to the DAO? Sounds like only Sushi LPs will earn NFTX fees for the foreseeable future. So
yeah, that's right. Currently, the way the V2 contracts work is it is the Sushi LPs and your proportion of the Sushi LP, which is why it's more of a secondary sort of approach tactic, something that I'd imagine layer on to an NFTX position. So say, for example, I have some Pudgy stake in LP and Sushi to get the NFTX rewards. I consider then putting another amount in a V3 pool behind it within a range that I'm happy to be, either all in Pudgy or all in ETH, which has the benefit of obviously earning me 1% on trades in those in that fee range, in that fees in that trade range, and also bringing the spot price closer, which will allow more activity to happen on the NFTX vaults, which increases fees, yada yada yada. Elephant self-satisfying itself, etc. Perpetual motion, that sort of stuff. But yes, that is the Sushi LPs will be the only one who earns the rewards. So it won't be for everyone to do this LPing elsewhere.
And it's staked Sushi LPs as well.
Yes, staked Sushi LP.
Just to jump in there quickly, another reason why people might want to use Uni is because you can do one-sided orders. So if you have like a bunch of Punk token and you want to ease out of it into ETH or do the reverse, then Uniswap supports that, which is just another small use case.
Yes, that's a good one. Actually, I forgot that.
That's a
Single
good
side orders.
And I think the other thing, and guys, you might have to clarify for me, but if you had a 100% position on Uni, so there was zero staked users on a vault, so it could still trade. I believe the fees just go back to the, well, if there's an inventory staker, all the fees go to the inventory staker, and if there's none, then it would go back to the DAO.
So yeah, this is a real throwback for me. I'd have to look at the contracts. I'm inclined to think that it's split, so that 20% for the LPs would go to the DAO. But either way, what would be really likely to happen in a situation like that is if somebody just staked a tiny bit of Sushi LP dust, then they would get the entire 20% to themselves. So it's pretty rare for a situation like that to emerge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. There was another use case I was thinking of as well. I saw Block Enthusiast as well a while ago when they were doing bonding for Floor. He set up a May-C pool so that people could buy out in a concentrated liquidity way from there because people were looking to bond tokens rather than entire NFTs. So if that worked well for him, that would, and FloorDAO started doing that bonding mechanism again, by him putting that concentrated liquidity on May-C would actually get pulled in through the 0x as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a big step forward without too much work on the smart contracts.
Cool. Is that all right, Waver? I'll give you silence as a... Oh, sweet, thanks. Guys, do you want to pick up on the recent proposal around the Aragon?
Yeah, so basically XIP 28 was posted on Snapshot recently, which is to extend the DAO voting time on Aragon, the NFTX DAO. And that's something that we've had in mind for quite a while. We had a script written by someone from the Blossom Labs team months back, and then we held off on it at the time because we were getting an official audit done. And we just wanted to be able to make any updates quite quickly if that was necessary, but the audit turned out fine. So we're taking another look at that. And basically the main motivation for it is just that right now, all the votes that get staged on Aragon, there's a 24-hour time where people can vote against it or vote in support, which can be tough on the team. Because we have to basically be checking every 12 hours or so to make sure we see anything in time and we can alert the rest of the team and we can vote against it if it's a negative proposal. So yeah, we basically want to extend that to 7 days, and part of that process is going to be first moving everything into a multi-sig. And the reason for that is because it can be dangerous updating these permissions on Aragon. If it's not done in the correct order, you can end up getting locked out of the DAO. So the plan is to move smart contract upgradability permissions to a multi-sig and also move the treasury to a multi-sig, then to update these permissions and then to move everything back. So that requires a little bit of trust from the community. And unfortunately, the script we got written months back, it doesn't seem to be working anymore. So we've reached out to Blossom Labs, and we're going to see if we can get that updated. Alternatively, another option is for us to just manually change all the permissions in the correct order following the outline of the script. So yeah, yesterday I spun up a test DAO on mainnet, and I'm going to be going through that over the next week or so, and hopefully this can get done within the next couple of weeks.
Awesome, man. Thank you. And then that brings us to the open discussion part of it. So if anyone has any questions about anything to do with the NFTX DAO or the products or the protocol, throw them up, which is probably you, Waver. I think the next time will be good. With it's got nothing to say. By the time we do our next call, the merge will have happened, which is pretty exciting as well. And the next call is what are we looking at? October will be the first Wednesday in November, which will be the 2nd of November. On a Wednesday, which actually coincides very closely with NFT London, which a few of the team will be around. So maybe we could do a live DAO governance call from some cafe, or probably not. We might just delay it by a week. But that's everything. If no one else has any questions, we'll wrap it up there. Like I said at the beginning, this recording will be added to YouTube tomorrow, and we'll post the video on the forum